called
The
The
Secret.
Secret. Yeah, you read that? So when I hear this, that was a big thing back then. But in this book, this is the first time I've been encountered with this book. So the first book we read was Think and Grow Rich, which was, if you haven't read it, it's a phenomenal book and teaching as well. But following it up with this book is really, to me, it's instrumental in going to the next level, because this one really delves into the God within you. That's what the Riches Within Your Reach is about. It's talking about the God that's within you, the same way that He's able to create, as we hear about in Genesis, we're able to create too. So that's my 2 cents. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts,
Yeah, I was
comments?
going to ask, and Helen, you pretty much said it as far as what gravitates to you. You count your blessings, when you do well unto others, it just multiplies. And it's a good feeling that comes with that, which positions you to do even more. Because it's almost like, today I have blessed a stranger with a gift. And I'm trying to get to that point where I give out of my lack, because it's easy for you to give in your abundance.
Yes.
But when you don't have it, I don't know, it's just something that just happens to you a lot more.
Yeah.
And you just have a great appreciation for the things you do have when you see someone tearing up because you gave them something. So not that I'm looking for it to come back, but if it does, it's just a great feeling of being able to give, even when you don't have it. So just that principle alone that comes back to you is a blessing within itself. So.
And to add to that, when we talk about practice is a process, because, it sounds good in theory, just like anything else. It sounds good, but we live in a system that does not necessarily promote good.
Right.
And so we have to be cognizant and mindful of, doing good. We have to see people. We have to pay attention to our surroundings and see the humanity, and understand that even out of our lack, what we consider lack could be rich to somebody else, and so and to practice that and, be mindful of that all day and not be caught up in your own issues, that's a process. That's a process.
Any other thoughts? You have any thoughts or comments? To put you on the spot, just
when you had mentioned The Secret, that's what came to mind. I have the video. The book was okay, but it was a little redundant to me, but I thought the video CD was much better. And I went through a really hard time maybe 10 years ago, and it just seemed that everything I did not turn out right. Jobs, just everything. And I guess it was because I was depressed, and I got myself up to go out and work and do whatever, but when I came back home, I retreated back into that hole. And so I listened to The Secret every night before I went to bed for about a year, to inspire me to keep those thoughts. Like you said, if you don't keep thinking of it and reminding yourself, it's easy to sink back into, the sadness. And you do attract that. The Secret talks about the law of attraction, that you attract what you think about, And one thing that gets me is when they say if you start your day off wrong, things just keep happening, to compound that bad start. But if you recognize it, then you can just change, whatever happens. Okay, I'm not going to let that determine my day, and just keep on. And you can see it in action if you can catch yourself and keep it at the forefront.
thank you for sharing that. That is so right. And again, as everybody's trying to mention, it's all about Joyce mentioned that the reason we talk about these books and these positive books is so that we can change our mindset. It all starts with our thinking, right? So, like you're saying, it depends on what you wake up with. If you wake up with negative thoughts, you have the ability to change that, though. And so what we're trying to focus on, and what this book is focusing on, is the God in you, and everything that you want, whatever it is, it starts with a seed. It's like anything else in the world, right? You got plants, you got children, we're all born from seed. Seed, right? So if you have a desire for something, that's your seed, right? And so you feed that seed, right, with your thoughts by, you help to cultivate it with the positive things that you do, with whatever it is you're working towards to make that dream come true. And so that's something that, again, you gotta be mindful of it, and you have to have control of your thinking. That's what it's all about, having control of your thinking. And it's easy sometimes to get away from it, but this is why I come to this meeting every Monday, because it helps me as a business person to stay focused and to keep my mind on what it is that's important, so that I don't keep slipping back, because it's easy, because as she talked about, we're a product of our environment, and if our environment tends to take us in a direction, sometimes we follow, so that's why I come here. So.
All right.
Well, thank you all. If nobody else has anything to say, thank you all for your participation. Yeah, you can. Here, go get your stuff.
Oh, it's a thick book. Okay. I thought it was a really thin book.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you.
And
Okay.
I would say that since I've been coming to these meetings and attending other events from people who attended.
Do you know the way out?
No.
Let me help you. If you go out this door.
I was being that army guy. I was gonna figure it out.
I'm gonna help you.
Thank you.
So if you go out this door and then to the
And
next
don't
door,
ask for
outright,
directions.
to the right.
Thank
You're welcome.
And that was so much easier.
You're welcome.
But I've been learning that the difference between a successful man and a man who is not successful is his thinking. That is the difference, how we think. So just being around more people who are mindful of what they think and what they say has definitely helped me to stay on track. So this has just definitely been great for me as well. We're going to go ahead and move on, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the history of why we're here and how this got started. So these meetings have been going on for 80 years, and they were started by Mr. S.B. Fuller. He was actually the first African-American millionaire. So he was born in 1905. He was born in LA, and he moved to Memphis. And later on, he moved to Chicago. He started his business with $25, and this was during segregation. He mentored a lot of up-and-coming entrepreneurs, and one of them was Mr. Joe L. Dudley. Joe L. Dudley. So, out of all the people that he mentored, Joe L. Dudley was the one who promised to keep these meetings going on. And he has up until this day, and we're still going on with the meetings. One of the reasons why we're here is to make sure that we take African American men and women and we share the best business practices, concepts, strategies, and insight in order to reach Mr. Fuller's goal of creating 220 millionaires, African American millionaires. Mr. Dudley has built a legacy by building one of the largest hair care companies with revenues of $36 million annually. So he had a good mentor, and now he is taking what he learned and he mentored others, and now we're being mentored by those same people. These meetings are held every Monday night. Rain or shine, we are usually here, and they are always free. That was one of Mr. Fuller's wishes to make sure that this is a place where we can come. You know, we're not discouraged because we don't have money or anything, but this definitely is something that is very valuable because you can go to other masterminds and they're charging. They might be charging $25 or $50 for each meeting, but these meetings will always be free. Yes, they charge. And now we have a new president of this organization, Emilio Gaviria, and he is taking this organization to the next level with helping to make sure that those 220 millionaires happen. These meetings are geared to change our mindset and to train us to think like millionaires. In order to be a millionaire, we have to think as a millionaire. And I thought about it, and there's a saying, and I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but it says, I would rather think big and miss it than to think small and reach it every time. So, you know, it's better for us to think big instead of, oh no, I don't want that, or, you know, that's, you know, we don't need all of that. What we're here to do is help our community. And in order to help our community, we need money. You know, we want to employ our community. We want to help families. And so we're going to need revenue to do that. So thinking $1 million, that might be too small, you know, but that is definitely a good start to thinking bigger and thinking about others than just ourselves. Because the money is not just for us, it's for our children and our children's children. So that's very important. What I'm going to do next, and I wish I would have gotten to this earlier, is I want to welcome our first-timers, and we're going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. We would like to know your name, what you do, and who invited you. So I think now we have one.
Well, I mean, I've been here before. This is technically my second time. But I'll go ahead and go through.
Thank you.
My name is Terrence State, and my company is Center for Economic Development. And we provide many resources to small businesses, whether it's small business training, funding, what else we do? We offer so many programs. But the key thing is that we want to get involved with economic development, especially in today's climate. I'm not sure if you guys are Trump supporters, but Trump.
I'm not president.
But he's made it very clear that he is looking to develop more options for small businesses and also develop more jobs. So our agency is also focused on that too, as far as workforce programs for displaced veterans. And we have a new program we just started, which is called Work for Yourself after 50 plus, which puts anyone over 50 in a position to own a job. So we have many own the company to provide jobs. So we just pretty much focus on economic development. That's what we do.
Awesome. Where are you based?
We're headquartered in Hillsborough, but we service up to 14 counties. We just expanded our borders to the Cleveland.
James, you work with James?
James Stroud.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Everybody know James
I know
Stroud.
James Mario. I know the whole,
Mario, yeah.
now I know you.
You
Awesome.
know?
Awesome.
So that's what we do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so you had to say this was your second meeting. So, my name is
Stand up, please.
So my name is Michelle Taylor.
Hello, Michelle Taylor.
Actually, my business artist name is Michelle Nicole. So you might see that. That's my first and middle name. Doesn't change, marriage, divorce, etc.
That was smart.
Smart kid. I am a massage therapist, but I'm an artist as well. So I have an exhibit of African Americans who fought during the American Revolutionary War. I have over 31 paintings and the stories that go along with them, because I didn't know we were in the growing up, and I hated history. And so when I found out about them, I thought, wow, we really need to know about these girls. So I taught myself to paint people and started it. And so anyway, I don't sell them. They're for educational purposes only. So I need revenue in order to rent cars or vehicles to take them places. Some of them are very large. And you know, my marketing materials and everything like that. So I've been toying with the idea of writing a book with the paintings and the process in it, or making prints, just, you know, different ways to fund it so that it's not, you know, so it's not coming out of my pocket all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So.
That's nice. Are they displayed anywhere? They're just for educational purposes?
Are they in your portfolio right
Some
now?
of them are, yes.
They're gonna wait them.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
I do have a website,
Awesome.
but that's networking time.
Yes, ma'am. No, you can share your website. I just,
Okay, it's www.inhopesofreedom.com.
Nice. The letter N?
In, no,
I-N, okay.
in hopes of freedom.
And so the next portion we're going to talk a little bit about is going and following us on social media. If you are a Facebook user, you can follow us at Fuller Dudley RDU. If you're on Twitter, Fuller Dudley RDU. And here are some hashtags that we can use, so it would be a great way to get people to know that we're here. So, actually, we can take out our phones now if we're not. You too, right?
and I highly recommend you guys to take a picture of that.
That would be
If
good.
you don't know, oh, you already have
Okay,
it?
all right.
Yeah, if you want it and you want to take a picture, that way you can have it.
Definitely. Thank you. And the RDU ambassadors, we meet at Goddess Garden every Saturday at 9 o'clock. And this is just to make sure that we have everything in place for our meetings for Monday nights. Also, there's an ambassador conference call. This happens every Thursday at 8 p.m. So we would love to have you there. We would love for you to come out, even if you can't commit to coming out every Saturday. Any Saturday that you can come out, we would love to have you because it's important that we get other ideas, other point of views. So we would really love for you to come out and give your input. Okay, take the next one. So the mission, the S.B. Fuller and Joel Dudley Senior Foundation exists for the purpose of educating African Americans about the virtues of capitalism and the power effects of entrepreneurship as a vehicle for economic empowerment in our community. We inspire, empower, and enlighten through the presenting, preserving, and celebration of the accomplishments and legacy of past and current successful African American entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of African descent. So this is the mission. This is why we're here. And a few of the ways that we're going to reach that that 220 millionaires is through the meetings that we hold every Monday night, but also this is being done to build a museum. And what is it, on May 20th, we're having a 80th birthday party for Mr. Dudley. It's his birthday gala, in which we're bringing together 10,000 entrepreneurs and soon-to-be entrepreneurs. We're going to have a huge mastermind meeting. I'm so excited about it. But this is a great time for us to come together. Nothing like this has ever been done before. Yes, we get together for different reasons, but economic empowerment is so important, especially in today's day, that it's important that we're all there, that we're a part of that we're able to network with other African American entrepreneurs from all over. So there's people coming from places. So you really, really want to be a part of this. But the money that is raised from this is going to help us to build this museum. And this museum is for our children and for our children's children. The history definitely needs to be preserved. Before coming here, I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know who S.B. Fuller was. I didn't know he was the first African-American millionaire. I did not know that. And this is something that if we do not find a way to preserve it for our children, they won't know. And it's just like starting all over. And our children should not start all over. If we're getting this information, they should be able to start from where we leave off at, not starting all over. So the museum is a big thing that we're working on. Also within the museum, we are going to be having classes so that others will be able to come and learn about entrepreneurship, learn how to start their business. Children will be able to come, have school trips, and learn about African-American entrepreneurs. So these are a lot of the things that we're going to be doing in the museum.
Is that gonna be here in this area, or is it
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem?
It's in that Winston-Salem area.
They've been working on plans now, sketches now. Okay.
We have a question.
The place where we can have the 10,000 people, is there a place big enough where we can all fit, nobody will be outside?
You've already
waiting?
got
Okay.
We're actually going to talk about it a little bit later, but yes, we did take a trip to Winston-Salem to see the facility, and I would say that before I saw the facility, it was even hard for me to talk to people about this event because it is $115. However, when I went there and just thinking about all of the African Americans that will be able to come together and network and work together, it's really not about going to see people, but just what we're going to be getting from it. We're going to get so much from this experience. So yes, the facility is big enough. I have it in the slides where it's going to be, and I'm excited. I'm excited. So you don't want to miss it. This will definitely be the event to be at if you're an African American in business. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go on. Can you go to the next one? Kind of talk a little bit about that. Can I hit that? Okay. All right. Okay, now I cannot see this. But this is a flyer of the event, and also if you do get the emails, it's also attached to the email, but you can go ahead and click on the attachment from the email that Jenny sends out weekly, and you can go ahead and get your ticket through there. But yes, we have a space big enough. Excited. May 24th, was that right?
May 20th,
May 20th,
21st,
21st,
and 22nd.
and 22nd. So the 10,000 will be there the 20th, and then on the 21st is his birthday gala. That will be 2,000 people, first 2,000 people. And then they're having a special workshop that next day, and that will be a totally different price
The first 2,000 people who buy a ticket
for
or
the gala.
For the gala.
Yeah, for the gala.
it's separate tickets?
The gala is separate from the Sunday class, correct?
Right now, the tickets are $115, that's for both the workshop, the mastermind, and for the gala.
Okay.
At some point, they will separate where you can just buy a ticket for the mastermind. I think that's gonna be $20.
Right.
That's
But the
$20.
gala is the one you want to get your ticket for. That's
They for both. So, and then there's, we're gonna expect 10,000 at the mastermind and 2,000 at the gala, so you can't go to the both, because we only have 2,000 slots for the gala. So the majority of people will be at the mastermind meeting, and that's the one that's on that Saturday.
Yes. So if you want to go to the gala,
Yeah,
you need to
you
get your
do that
ticket
now.
now. You need to get your ticket
Okay, that's for the first 2,000 people who get the ticket.
Yes.
for that. Yes.
And if I can add, last year I attended, and we were already at capacity. We had 500 last year, and there were people still trying to buy tickets. We had to bring in extra tables and, a couple extra tables, so we want to try to avoid that this year. So we try to go ahead and get the tickets sold, and when they're sold, they're kind of sold this year, so.
you volunteers. We're in need of volunteers. We definitely need people to set up. Jimmy comes at about 5 and sets up, and I come and try to help him. I set up tonight. We need people to help clean up. We need people to help lead the reading of the discussion. We need someone to help get speakers, because we do have speakers most nights. And like I said earlier, we meet every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock at Goddess Garden in Durham. And there's also a conference call for ambassadors, and that's on Thursday at 8 p.m.
Can I just make a correction? She's changed the name of the business. Yes, it's Solely Vegan Cafe. SOULY Vegan Cafe.
Solely Vegan Cafe. Okay, that works. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on with our speaker. And our speaker for this evening is Stephanie Schelling. And Stephanie Schelling is a native of Los Angeles, California. Her professional career as a 911 dispatcher for the Los Angeles Police Department spanned over 15 years, where the daily experience of dealing with citizens in crisis taught her that many in this world don't know they have choices, live in fear, or simply have no one to talk to. Through this process, Schelling began calling her own fears and faith into question, allowing God to reveal what faith truly looks like. People are God's greatest commodity, and she believes we all can do better, helping each other simply by listening, hearing, and acknowledging another's presence, letting them know they matter and their stories are important. Stephanie is doing her part by being transparent in real time and sharing her journey of triumphs and errors as she genuinely renews her faith and relationship with God. 2 years ago, Ms. Schelling left everything behind, making a valiant, faith-filled move to Raleigh, North Carolina, where she penned her sophomore release, Confessions of a Believer Who Didn't Trust God. She is also the proud mother of her daughter, Tyree Moorhead, who resides in Los Angeles, California. Stephanie is also the author of Casting Your Pearls Before Swine. So, can we go ahead and give Ms. Stephanie Schelling a hand as she comes?
So, thank you for being here. I kind of got this at the last minute that I was going to be speaking. So I just thought I would just come off the cuff, if we don't do it, just let's do it. So as she read, I am from Los Angeles, California. My career with LAPD was very instrumental in directing me, or pushing me out, I should say, to do what it is that I'm doing now. First of all, let me say, and I told Jimmy this, because he said, talk about your business. I said, Jimmy, I don't have a business. I don't have a business. I'm not really a business person. I'm a creative person. But God had directed me here because one weekend I said, God, I want to know what it's like to be around millionaires. Like, what is that like, And that was like a Saturday night, and Monday night I was in this class, and I didn't know anything about this class, or I know anything about it, But to me, when I asked Tony, I said, well, Tony, tell me what a millionaire is, because we black folk, we throw that around a lot, millions and bling, whatever, And I said, so tell me what that is. And one word. He said, well, I can't really tell you in one word. I said, one word, Tony, one word. And he said, well, I guess I would say servant. And I said, good word. Because like you said, we give to give. We give to give, and there's lots of resources. There's a secret, and there's, other things. My resource that saved my life was the Bible, point blank period. It was the Word of God. And in California, I was exhausted. I was just exhausted. I was taking care of my mother till she died. I was 14 when she died. Taking care of my father when he died. My brother's a renal patient. I was a single parent. I was a 911 operator helping people think their way out of paper bags. I was tired. Now, life was great. I was making $80,000 a year. I had a house. I had a great dog, great credit. Everything was great. But I was empty, and I was vulnerable, and I became suicidal. And so here I am talking people off the ledge, and doing it well because I could relate to how they felt. I could relate to, the wanting to give up. Unfortunately, we are recorded at LAPD, and so I can't talk about Jesus to people, even though I did sometimes. I took the chance. But it stifled me. And then I was watching people just live, people who didn't really care anything about God. They were just living. And I was like, well, now here I am, grew up in church and professing God all wonderfully and strong and whatnot. But I'm afraid all the time. I'm afraid. Just afraid. So, I just became in this very dark place. And I said, God, I'm going to give you one last shot. I'm going to give you 100%, all of me. You got to show me what this faith thing is like, or I'm out of here. And so, you've been saying something to God. Something like that. And he said, okay, well, give it all up. I was like, what? Come again? But this house and all these things, give them up, because I can't do what I need to do with you here. This is going to limit me if you stay here. And so I did. I sold my house, I quit my job, I gave away stuff, and I came here where I didn't know anybody and I didn't have a job. I just drove across country with what I could put in my truck. And so I said, well, God, if you can't keep me, I can't be kept. But fear always had me gripped, and as believers, we say we believe, but we don't trust God. And that's a difference. There's a big difference in trusting and believing. And so I was confronted with a lot of things from my past. God showing me a lot of my own issues, showing me that, I didn't think I had faith, but my faith was just displaced in negative thinking. So I believed all the negative stuff, So we talk about the mind, and we talk about our thinking and how everything starts with a thought. And so I had to reprogram my thinking according to God's word, because that was, for me, the only thing that was going to save me. And so when I decided to take him at face value, and I decided to be able to see things differently, even coming here, the trees just made me weep here, because in California they cut down all the trees. And everything is concrete, and everything is small. A good rain can come in, and by noon there's a film in the sky. But here, it was like my brain recalibrated, because the oxygen was in the air. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was something. The seasons, they're like clockwork here. We don't have seasons. We got 80-degree Christmases in LA. So. God had to remind me of some things, and I had a lot of childhood flashbacks, and things that he took me back about myself and what my gifts really were. And I didn't think of them as gifts. We don't think of the things that we do naturally as gifts. We don't think of them as anything that can be monetized. It's no big deal to us, but we all have something to offer. And it's a convenience, actually, for other people. There's something that you do, somebody pay you to do because they don't want to do it, And so, but with the people, and on 911, I just realized that there's a lot of hurting people. People are calling 911 just to have a conversation with someone. Like, that's crazy, And I would talk to them because I understood, I could hear their pain. I would get dinged for it sometimes because of supervisors. But I'm not on the emergency line. We have a secondary line that, when it's not an emergency, they transfer them there. But there were people who, they couldn't get their children to go to school, and these were little kids, and some of the little kids would beat up the parents. There were people who wanted to leave abusive relationships but couldn't. They just felt like they couldn't. And I'm like, no, you have a choice, but you have to be wise about what you do and how you do it. And, just the fear of not knowing. And there's a certain demographic that calls 911, and it's people who, It's not any demographic of any color or race. It's people who are in trouble. People who are in trouble, you know, and what's trouble is relative, you know, to you. So they are looking for someone to talk to them and to understand them more than anything, to validate them and acknowledge them. But there's a lot of people who are not calling 911 that are doing that, you know? And there's a lot of people that are calling 911 that are acting like everything is okay, and it's not. And one of my biggest desires is to get people to be okay with being not transparent, but vulnerable. There's a difference, you know. In transparency, you only see as far as I want you to see, but to be vulnerable and be filleted open and be honest, because if we would find out that we have more alike and in common than not. But we have this, you know, this polished look and way of being that we need to have in order to be accepted. But if God created you to be you, then can't nobody do you like you. And so there are people, while we're so busy trying to be something that we are not or we weren't created to be, there are people waiting for you to be who God created you to be. But you're doing that, you know, we're doing the exact opposite. And so I got frustrated, you know, wanting to be, you know, a college graduate. My brother was a college graduate. Everybody put everything into him, but they didn't do that for me. And so I was like, well, what happened? You know, like, why? You know, and then God sends me here to a college town, smack dab in the middle of a million colleges, and I was like, this is not right. This is a trick. This is a trick. But he wanted me to get over myself. He wanted me to get over myself. He's like, look, that's not what I called you to do. I need you to just be, if you could just be you, we can get this thing done. We can get this thing done. And so in real time, my life, I'm living every day by faith. I'm making less money than I never made in my life, but I still got to keep my car. And I had just bought my car like the year before, you know. So I'm paying for a car that I bought off of $80,000 a year salary, you know. And God is like, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And I'm like, okay, I trust you. We have to get out of this thing where things have to look and be a certain kind of way. You know, credit is great, and it's great to have good credit, but how many of y'all know that white folks' credit go up and down all the time, and they fix it, and it, you know, but we are literally, like, in our minds, I've talked to people, and they're like, oh, my credit, and I'm like, you can fix that in like 4 months. It'll be okay, you know, because it's a game. It's a game, you know? And so, my desire is for people to just be free, particularly people who say they believe the word of God, because it is what is going to unlock and make us free if we really truly choose to trust God and take our hands off of it. And we don't have to understand, and we don't have to know. The one scripture that the Holy Spirit kept pounding to me was, I know the plans I have for you. I know the plans I have for you. I know the plans I have for you. You don't have to know the plans I have for you, because I know the plans I have for you. The plans I have for you are none of your business. Your duty is to hear my voice and move. Now that's hard enough when you got a million other voices in your head telling you, and then the people outside your head telling you what to do, and you're trying to hear God's voice and move when he says move, when it don't make no sense. Faith is a workout. Faith is a workout. It's a daily workout. My brain be tired. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because I was a people pleaser. So I'm trying to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm trying to please everybody. And everybody wants different things. And it was killing me. But I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. But the Bible says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. So I was like, oh, I'm going to all these people when I should just be going to one source, to please one source. So it moving here really free, and I mean, I left everything and everybody, y'all, and I love them, but I had to go, because when you have death on one side as your option, you got to make a decision. And that was real for me. Death was real. It was right there. I was literally, it was a fork in the road. It would have been a conscious decision because I was just tired. And so when I said, God, you know, do this for me, show me this. Now I can't make no excuses. I can't backpedal now. So I have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And every day I'm doing something that's uncomfortable. But I can't go back to as is. I can't go back to that. And so at the end of the day, I want to be able to be empty when I stand before God. That's just, you know, and I don't mean to preach, but this is my story. This is all I got. You know, he said you overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. This is all I got. So, you know, and so I one time in LA, there's a cemetery where everybody can root there. And they have headstones, and headstones all have pictures on them. So you get to see who's laying in, yeah, so it's a lot of young people, And so I was walking through the cemetery because an acquaintance had passed away, so I was looking for her grave. And then I stopped at a grave, and I had a vision of the soil was removed, the top of the coffin had popped open, and there were wrapped boxes with dirt on them, wrapped bowls and everything. And I was like, what is that? Why are those? And those